In the beginning, there was only chaos. Then came Gaia, the earth itself, and Eros, the primal force of love. From Gaia emerged Uranus, the sky, and together they created the Titans, the first divine beings to walk the cosmos. But Uranus feared his own children and imprisoned them deep within the earth. Gaia, enraged by this cruelty, crafted a great sickle and gave it to her son Cronus. In a brutal act of rebellion, Cronus ambushed his father and severed his genitals, casting them into the sea. With Uranus defeated, Cronus freed his siblings and ushered in the Age of the Titans. Yet history would repeat itself. Cronus married the Titan Rhea and fathered the next generation of gods. But haunted by a prophecy that his own children would overthrow him, Cronus swallowed each newborn whole. Desperate, Rhea turned to Gaia for help. When Zeus was born, they hid him on Mount Ida in Crete, and Rhea deceived Cronus by feeding him a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes. Zeus grew strong in secret. When he finally confronted his father, he forced Cronus to release his siblings. This sparked a catastrophic war between the Olympian gods and the Titans, a conflict that raged for 12 brutal years. The tide turned when Zeus freed the Cyclopes and the hundred-handed giants from their prison. Grateful, the Cyclopes forged legendary weapons. Zeus received his thunderbolt, Poseidon his trident, and Hades a helmet of invisibility. With these divine arms, the gods finally defeated the Titans and cast them into Tartarus, the deepest prison in existence. The age of the Olympians had begun. The Big Three, rulers of the cosmos: Zeus, king of the gods Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, drew lots to divide the cosmos. Zeus claimed the sky, Poseidon the seas, and Hades the realm of the dead. From his throne on Mount Olympus, Zeus ruled as king of the gods. His symbols, the thunderbolt and the eagle, served as both warnings and blessings to mortals below. Zeus controlled all weather, from lightning strikes to gentle snow, depending entirely on his mood. He also protected the sanctity of a home and the treatment of strangers. Showing poor hospitality could invoke his terrible wrath. Zeus married his sister Hera, and together they had Ares and Hephaestus. But Zeus was infamous for his countless affairs. From goddesses, he fathered Athena, Hermes, Apollo, Artemis, and Persephone. From mortal women came Dionysus and legendary heroes like Perseus and Hercules, most of whom would suffer the jealous fury of Hera. Poseidon, lord of the seas, Poseidon was one of the most powerful gods, ruling not just the ocean but also earthquakes and horses, creatures highly prized in ancient Greece. While he maintained a palace on Olympus, he preferred his magnificent underwater kingdom. Sailors knew to pray and make proper sacrifices to Poseidon, or risk a horrific death at sea. He was notoriously vengeful and held grudges that could last lifetimes. One famous tale involves King Minos of Crete. Each year, Minos sacrificed his finest bull to Poseidon. But one year, he kept his favorite, a magnificent white bull, for himself. Poseidon noticed the insult, but chose an indirect revenge. He cursed Minos's wife to fall in love with the bull. From this unnatural union came the Minotaur, a monstrous creature that was half man, half bull. Hades, god of the underworld, Hades, the eldest brother, ruled the underworld where all spirits of the dead eventually journey. He shared his dark throne with Persephone, and together they were also considered gods of fertility. The underworld was heavily guarded, making it difficult for the dead and nearly impossible for the living to enter. First, souls had to cross the river Styx. The ferryman Charon would only provide passage for payment. This is why Greeks placed coins on the eyes of the deceased. Souls without payment were doomed to wander the shores forever. Beyond Charon waited Cerberus, the fearsome three-headed dog who guarded the gates. Finally, souls faced three judges who determined their eternal fate. They could be sent to Elysium, a paradise for heroes, demigods, and exceptionally virtuous mortals. The fields of Asphodel awaited ordinary people who lived unremarkable lives. And Tartarus, similar to Hell, imprisoned the Titans and criminals who angered the gods, where they suffered eternal torture. The goddesses of Olympus: Hera, queen of the gods Hera, both sister and wife to Zeus, served as queen of the gods and protector of marriage and women. She commanded deep respect throughout Greek society. But Hera was also one of the most vengeful deities. She ruthlessly punished any woman who lay with Zeus and their children. When Leto became pregnant with Apollo and Artemis, Hera prevented her from giving birth. She transformed Io, another of Zeus's lovers, into a cow and had the hundred-eyed monster Argos guard her. Perhaps her most famous vendetta was against Hercules. As an illegitimate son of Zeus, Hercules became Hera's target from infancy. She sent serpents to kill him in his crib, but even as a baby, the demigod crushed them with his bare hands. Years later, Hera drove Hercules mad, causing him to murder his own wife and children, the tragedy that led to his famous 12 labors. Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, Athena's birth was as unconventional as it was dramatic. Zeus learned that his children with the Titaness Métis would overthrow him, so he swallowed Métis while she was pregnant. Soon after, Zeus developed an unbearable headache. He commanded another god to split his skull open with an axe. Athena sprang forth fully grown, dressed in battle armor, and let out a tremendous war cry. Athena championed heroes throughout mythology, aiding Perseus and Hercules. Her favorite was Odysseus, whom she protected through his long journey home. She was especially revered in Athens, which was literally named after her. The city's naming came from a competition with Poseidon. Both gods offered the city a gift. Poseidon struck the ground with his trident and created a stream of water. Athena kicked the earth and produced the first olive tree. The gods declared Athena the winner, and the city took her name. As one of the sacred virgin goddesses, the magnificent temple built in her honor on the Acropolis was called the Parthenon, derived from Parthenos, meaning the virgin. Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty, Aphrodite embodied beauty and love, wielding power over sexual attraction in both mortals and immortals, often for her own amusement. Her origins vary in different accounts. Some say she emerged from the severed genitals of Uranus. Others claim she was another illegitimate child of Zeus. Aphrodite played a pivotal role in the Trojan War. Prince Paris of Troy was asked to judge who is fairest among three goddesses, Hera, Athena, or Aphrodite. Each offered him something different. Paris chose Aphrodite, who promised him the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen. There was one problem. Helen was already married to King Menelaus of Sparta. Aphrodite enchanted Helen, causing her to abandon her husband and run away with Paris. In response, Menelaus and his brother Agamemnon assembled a massive Greek army to retrieve Helen from Troy. This sparked the legendary Trojan War. Artemis, goddess of the hunt, twin sister to Apollo, Artemis was a deadly archer and guardian of the wilderness. She watched over both hunters and their prey, maintaining balance in the natural world. Artemis fiercely protected her virginity. The gods of Olympus, Ares, god of war, Ares represented the brutal, savage side of warfare, bloodlust, violence, and chaos. Unlike Athena's strategic warfare, Ares embodied the primal rage of the battlefield. Neither gods nor mortals particularly liked him. Ares conducted a secret affair with Aphrodite, who was married to Hephaestus. They would meet whenever her husband was away. When Hephaestus discovered the betrayal, he crafted an invisible net and suspended it above his bed. He then pretended to leave on a journey. As predicted, Ares and Aphrodite slipped into bed together and became trapped in the net, unable to move. Hephaestus summoned all the gods to witness the naked couple caught in their shame. The Olympians erupted in laughter, and only Poseidon's intervention secured their release. Apollo, god of light, music, and prophecy, Apollo, twin brother of Artemis, governed many domains. He was a god of archery, light, music, and prophecy, equally likely to be seen with a lyre as with a bow. Born on the island of Delos, Apollo honored his birthplace by establishing an oracle there. He later traveled to Mount Parnassus and slew the great serpent Python. On that very spot, he built a temple, the foundation of what would become the famous Oracle of Delphi. Hermes, messenger of the gods. Hermes served as the divine messenger and patron of thieves. Known as a trickster, he frequently pulled pranks and stole from his fellow gods. When he reached maturity, he officially became the messenger, carrying a golden caduceus as a symbol of his authority. He's typically depicted wearing a winged helmet and sandals, which allowed him to fly swiftly across the world delivering messages. Demeter, goddess of the harvest. Demeter controlled farming and the harvest. But nothing mattered more to her than her daughter, Persephone. Hades, god of the underworld, fell in love with Persephone. One day, as she picked flowers in a meadow, Hades opened the earth and dragged her down to his realm. When Demeter discovered her daughter's fate, she searched for 9 days and nights until the sun god Helios revealed who had taken her. Devastated, Demeter locked herself away for an entire year, refusing to emerge until Persephone was returned. Without the goddess of farming, the world fell into famine. To save humanity, Zeus ordered Hades to release Persephone. But Hades had tricked her. He'd fed her pomegranate seeds, the food of the dead, which bound her to the underworld. After lengthy negotiations, Zeus decreed that Persephone would spend 3 months each year with Hades and 9 months with her mother. This myth explains the seasons. During the 3 months Persephone dwells in the underworld, Demeter mourns and the world experiences winter, cold, barren, and lifeless. When her daughter returns, spring blooms anew. Hephaestus, god of the forge. Hephaestus had a tragic beginning. Born with a lame leg, his mother Hera was so ashamed that she threw him off Mount Olympus into the sea, intending to drown him. He survived and eventually returned to Olympus, where Hera gave him Aphrodite as his wife in an attempt at reconciliation. Despite his difficult start, Hephaestus became a master craftsman. He designed many of the palaces on Olympus and forged equipment for legendary heroes, including the magnificent armor and shield he created for Achilles. Dionysus, god of wine and celebration. Dionysus was perhaps the most entertaining of the Olympians. God of wine, parties, and ecstasy, he was followed by frenzied women called Maenads and half-goat satyrs. He commanded a massive cult following in ancient Greece, where worshippers engaged in wild celebrations featuring excessive drinking and the orgies. His mythological companions were famous, for the Greek gods represent humanity in all its complexity, from the violent brutality of Ares to the seductive beauty of Aphrodite, from the wisdom of Athena to the trickery of Hermes. These myths chronicle an epic power struggle between generations in an endless quest for control. Parents fear their children. Children rebel against their parents. The cycle repeats across divine ages. These are more than just ancient stories. They're tales that have been passed down through countless generations, shaping Western literature, art, philosophy, and culture. The Greek gods remain some of the most influential deities in human history, and their impact continues to resonate thousands of years later. Their stories remind us that even the divine struggle with jealousy, love,